Hi there, this is Patricia from patriciafenty.com, and today I'm going to show you how to crochet this really pretty and warm winter hat. It is so easy, it's totally suited for beginners, and I'm excited to share this with you. So let's get started. Now for this project, I am using the Lions brand Ferris Wheel cake yarn. It is such a beautiful color. I just love this yarn. And this is the Vintage Carousel. So it's a number 4 medium weight yarn. It's 100% acrylic. There's 270 yards or 247 meters. We're not going to use the whole ball of yarn. And of course you can use any yarn you like, any weight that you like, so long as your crochet hook matches. And because we're going to be making this hat to a certain size, so you don't have to have a certain weight yarn. So, but I'm using a number 4, and with that I'm using a 4mm crochet hook. You'll need some scissors, a darning needle, and you may need a stitch marker. If you have a short attention span like I do, you'll need a stitch marker and then a tape measure, and that's it. Now, you only need to really know 2 stitches for this tutorial, a chain stitch and a single crochet. And if you're new to crochet, I do have a beginner crochet series. I'll put a link to that below, but you can actually just follow along with this. It is so simple. So we will start with a slip knot, and you just put a loop around your finger and then your thumb and bring the tail in from behind. There's all kinds of ways to do slip knots, fancy ways, but I've been doing this since I was 10. So just put it on your hook and have it nice and comfortable on the shank. Then you want to set up your tension, and I do teach this in the beginner crochet series, and having proper tension is really important, so I do suggest you check that out if you're new to crochet. So to do a chain stitch, all you do is yarn over and pull the yarn through your loop, and then yarn over and pull the yarn through your loop. And that's a chain stitch. So yarn over and pull it through the loop. Yarn over and through the loop. So I'm going to create a foundation chain of 45 chains or 12 inches. This will depend on your tension. You're aiming for 12 inches. Now you do want this foundation chain to be quite loose, so if you have a hard time with your tension, you can use a slightly larger hook for your foundation chain, say a 4.5mm, and then you just carry on and create your foundation chain. So I'll see you at the end. So once you have your 12 inches or 45 chains, then chain 1, and then you start doing a single crochet back. So you skip this first chain, and you're going to put your hook into the top post of the second chain from your hook, and then we'll do a single crochet. So you yarn over, pull the yarn through that loop. You have 2 stitches on your hook, yarn over and through 2 stitches, and that's your first single crochet. So you go under the next chain, under the top post of that beginning chain, yarn over, bring your yarn through. You'll have 2 stitches on your loop, yarn over and pull through. And again, working into the top post of that beginning chain, and you're going to work a single crochet into the top post of this row all the way across. And you will then have however many stitches you started with. So I'll have 45 stitches. And the reason for counting your stitches is because you want to check in every now and then and make sure you're staying on count and that your fabric isn't going all wonky. So go ahead and we'll see you at the end. Here we are at the end of this row. I have 2 chains left. So I'll do a single crochet into that one, and you want to make sure you catch that very beginning chain and do a single crochet, and that's the end of row 1. So chain 1, turn your work, and then skipping that first chain 1, you're going to work another row of single crochet, starting row 3 here, and working into the back post. So you can see there that sort of V stitch. So you want to make sure to catch that back post of that V stitch and do a single crochet. And work into the back post with another single crochet. And you're just going to do this all the way along for row 3, working into the back post of the previous row with a single crochet. So go ahead, work your way across to the other end, and I will see you there. Now as we come to the end of row 3, you'll do your single crochet into the back post of the second latch stitch, and then on this end only, with the back post single crochet, you're going to finish this row by going under both posts of the last stitch and do your single crochet under both posts of this row, and then chain 1. Now the reason for this is this end of your work here is going to be where the rim is, and the end of your work on this side where the tail is going to be the crown. And so by doing it this way, the rim will have a sturdier finish. And if you like, you can put your stitch marker in here because we're going to change the pattern now. So chain 1 and turn your work. You don't have to use a stitch marker, but so you're skipping that first chain 1, and now you're going to go under both posts of the next row and do a single crochet, and then work under both posts and do a single crochet. And you're going to do this row all the way along, working under both posts from the previous row. So go ahead to the end and I will see you there. Now coming to the end of row 4, you'll see here there's 2 stitches left, 2 V's. So finishing off with your single crochet under both posts, and you always want to make sure to catch that last stitch, and you're going under both posts to finish off this row and do your single crochet, and then chain 1, turn your work. And then row 5 is exactly the same as row 4. So you skip that first chain and go under both posts of the next stitch and do your single crochet. And you'll work back all the way doing the single crochet, working under both posts of the previous row. So go ahead and do that. And you may want to count your stitches every now and then to make sure you're staying on track. So coming to the end of row 5, working into the last 2 stitches, and again going under both posts. And this is the side of your hat that will be your brim. So chain 1, turn your work, and now we're going to repeat row 2. So you skip that first chain 1, and now you're working into the back post of the next row with a single crochet. And this is where you can change your stitch marker just to keep track of your pattern repeats, because now you're working into the back post. So go ahead and work into the back post all the way along, and I'll see you on the other side. So we're coming to the end of row 6 with the row 2 repeat, working into the back posts only. So at the end of this row, you're at the top end of the hat because your tail is there. And on this end only, remember you're just working into the back post, finishing this row with the single crochet in the back post. And then chain 1, turn your work, and then you're going to work back in the back post again. So skip the first chain and work into the back post with a single crochet and work along. We'll see you at the other end. Okay, here we are at the end of row 7, working into the back post with the single crochets. And then this is the end where the brim is. So in the very last stitch, you're going to work into both posts, just on this one side only. And then you do your single crochet. Chain one, turn your work, and now you're going to repeat rows 2 to 5. So essentially you're going to be doing 2 rows of single crochet going under both posts, and then you're going to do 2 rows of single crochet going under just the back post, with the last stitch of that last row going under both posts. So go ahead and I'll come back and show you how I'm making out. I love how this is working out. So we'll see in a bit. Welcome back. So you can see how nicely this is coming along, and you can also see the difference between this side here, that'll be the crown. It's a little bit more of a rough edge, whereas this side here, that's going to be the brim. It's a little bit more smooth, more sturdy edge for the brim, and of course that will fold up like that. So you do want to count your stitches every now and then to make sure you're keeping on track, and then make the panel 18 to 19 inches in length, and you can try it on. You want it to fit a little bit snug because the fabric will stretch a bit. So go ahead and we'll see you at the other end. Welcome back. So here we are. And didn't this just crochet up so beautifully? I just love this yarn. Now, once you've reached the length that fits around your head, for me it was 19 inches, we're then going to join the 2 sides together. Now you do want to finish your last 2 rows by repeating rows 4 and 5. So those are the rows where you go under both posts. So you single crochet under both posts. So finish off by repeating those rows. If you have the repeat of rows 2 and 3 where it's just the one post, it's better if you unravel and have the hat a little bit tight than if you make the hat a little bit too big, because the fabric will relax. So finishing off with those rows, you're not going to do a chain 1, just turn your work. Now we're going to join the 2 sides together. So what you're going to do is bring the beginning row in underneath and join up your finishing row. And I'm just going to bring this in closer. There we are. And so now what you want to do is we're going to slip stitch this together. So bring your hook through that very first stitch of your first row, and you'll just have 2 loops on your hook right here. And then you're going to yarn over and do a slip stitch. And then you're going to pick up the first stitch going under both posts of your last row and picking up 1 stitch from the first row. They're a little tricky to find, and there'll be 4 stitches on your loops, and slip stitch through all of those. And then again picking up the 2 posts from your last row and just 1 post from the beginning row, and come through all 4 loops with the slip stitch. And again, and you're just going to work this all the way along. And these stitches in the first row are a little bit hard to find, and if by chance you've gotten off count, off by a stitch or 2, you can just fudge this as you go and work like, 2 stitches, crochet 2 stitches together so that it works out. Looks like I'm pretty even to the end. So yeah, so you're just going to slip stitch all the way along the 2 sides like this. And essentially you're working on the inside of your hat here. So we'll see you at the end. All right, welcome back. I forgot to mention that you want to darn in your beginning tail. So I just did that, and I'll just snip that off. So here we are coming to the end of joining this together. I've got that one. And of course now we're at the crown of the hat and the inside and the crown. And this is your very end here. There's not really a stitch. You kind of are going into that turning chain there, but just pick up the very end as best as you can on both sides and do your last slip stitch just like that. And then you're going to fasten off, oops, and then you're going to cut a nice long piece of yarn. So probably about 12 or 15 inches long. So now that's all nicely joined together. Again, this is your brim end and this is your crown end. So now you're going to put on your darning needle. I think I cut this a little too long. You don't have to cut it this long. And then you're starting at the top of the hat, still working on the inside. You're going to pick up this top stitch. You can kind of see that these little top stitches like here, and they stick out a little bit. And you're just going to darn in underneath those. And you can pick up, 3 of them at a time and just loosely bring the yarn through and just pick up those top stitches there. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but just pick them up like that, 3 or 4 at a time. So you'll do that all the way around, and I'll see you on the other side. All right, so here we are. It's all darned along the top. And then all you're going to do is gently start to gather the crown of your hat. And you can just work the gathering around like this to the other side, and then pull a little bit more and push it around to the other side. You don't want to pull on your yarn too hard because you could break it, but you do want to make a nice tight gathering. So just do a little bit at a time. There you go. And snug it up like that. And then put your hand in from the other side and make sure you have it all nicely gathered. And make it as snug as you can. That looks pretty good. Then you're still on the inside of the hat. And I'm just going to turn the hat around this way so that the yarn is pulling in that kind of direction. So, and then you want to stitch in that top hole and seal up the top hole. So just pick up some yarn from the very top of the crown of the hat and pull that nice and snug. And just stitch along the top like this. I'm just gonna speed this up just a smidgy. And of course you're doing this on the inside, but it'll look neat even though you're working on the inside. So just stitch that up. And then come from the outside and check and poke your finger through and make sure it's stitched up nicely. And then all you need to do is fasten off and you are done. So you can just do a double knot here and tie that up and make a knot. And then you can just darn this in. And if you want to add a pom-pom, you could do that. And so the pom-pom from the other side, and you can tie the pom-pom on the inside. I'm not going to add a pom-pom. I'll put a link below if you want to do that, but I'm not a pom-pom kind of gal. So now for the final reveal, you can flip your hat to the outside. I'll just zoom out again here as far as I can. Oh, that's as far as I can go. Then you're just going to flip your rim up And you can see here, this is your back seam, and you can't even see it at all. And there you go. And just look how adorable that is. So easy. I mean, anyone could make this. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel to get more creative and inspiring videos. Thank you for joining me.